Hello, welcome back to Student of the Gun Radio. I am your host, Paul Markle, and with me today in the studio is my studio engineer and my right-hand man, Jared. Jared, how are we doing over there today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Well, Jared, apparently our fans really like it when you have your ADD moments kick in, and well, maybe we need to record more often when you're tired.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, huh? Or good, I guess.
Good or bad, depending on how you view it. But take heart, all you fans out there of Student of the Gun Radio, because Jared and I are both much more well-rested this week than we were last week. We haven't been traveling all day long and all night long like we had last time. But we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today, a lot of material to get into. We're going to give you 2 full hours worth of material, 2 segments worth of material. So before we get started, let's acknowledge our good buddies. Let's acknowledge our good buddies at Keltec Firearms of Cocoa, Florida. You check them out at KeltecWeapons.com. And, of course, Crossbreed Holsters of Republic, Missouri, CrossbreedHolsters.com. Check them out. And our good friends, we've been talking to our buddies Zeke and Left Hand over at the Talking Lead podcast. A lot of you guys like Talking Lead if you're a Firearms Radio Network fan. And we've been kicking around an idea between Zeke and Left Hand and Jared and myself about doing a combined show. With all 4 of us. And we were thinking about recording that and making it the second hour of Student of the Gun Radio. What do you guys think about that? If you think it's a good idea, let us know. If you think the idea stinks, you can let us know too. Opinions are opinions. Now, I got the finger from Jared over there. He's like, watch it now. Hey, right now we're coming to you today, and we're very, very pleased and happy that this week, Student of the Gun, Jared's been working hard. You guys know that he is the social media coordinator for Student of the Gun Radio and Student of the Gun TV. And the social media, the social networking has just, it's blown up the last couple of days. You guys obviously are listening. You're paying attention to what's going on. And you're liking us on Facebook, you're doing the Twitter thing, the Instagram, what have you. And this isn't just a complete ego exercise, seriously. When we post things on Pinterest or Instagram or Twitter or whatever, we're constantly putting up information and educational material. We're putting up the new videos, the homerooms, the new articles, the reviews, all of that good stuff. It's not just us blowing our own trumpet. It's us actually providing you yet another way to access the educational material that we spend a lot of time putting together for you. So if you want an easier way to access it, it's funny. We've had people in the past send us Facebook messages and say, hey, how come I can't find your videos? Like, dude, you're on Facebook, okay? Yeah. If you send me a Facebook message and tell me you can't find our videos, I'm not really sure what to tell you. But go to the central hub for everything Student of the Gun, obviously, is studentofthegun.com. Go to the website, and from the website, you can get everything. You can get the videos, you can get the audio podcast, the radio program, you can read the articles. You can find out about what's new, what's coming up, what projects we're working on. Do we have a new DVD, a new book, a new T-shirt, a new whatever? So make sure that you're checking out studentofthegun.com on a regular basis. And, of course, it pays, or it's going to be paying off really, really soon. I know a lot of you guys out there, you're probably chomping at the bit right now. You're probably pretty excited because time is ticking down. It's less than a month. We got, 3 weeks, Jared?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Yeah, 3.
Actually, no, 2.
2 weeks?
Yeah, September 1st.
Oh, wow. Only 2 weeks. Only 2 weeks left before our big Season 4 giveaway. And you fans of the show, you know what it's going to be. We're giving away a Keltec KSG-12 shotgun, 5 Keltec flashlights, and the Frog Tube cleaning kit, the 100% the everything all maintenance kit, I guess they call it. You've got everything you need in there for gun maintenance from Frog Lube.
If you've got something metal that gets hot, it needs Frog Lube.
Yeah, if you've got a machine or anything that's metal where metal rubs against other metal, like your shotgun, your rifle, your pistol, you could use Frog Lube. And we've had some great success with it. As a matter of fact, what did we put Frog Lube on up at camp, Jared?
We put the Frog Lube on the KSG that we are going to give away. Not the exact one, but a KSG.
Yeah, actually, new guns, any new firearm, if it's a new machine, it's made of metal, steel, aluminum, all that. You guys know, if you're an experienced shooter and gun owner, that it takes a while for all the parts to start working together to mesh. If you're a guy out there or a gal that has a well broken in or well worn 870, you know how smooth the action is now. Maybe when you got the gun, the action wasn't quite so smooth, but you fired 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 shells out of your 870, and now the action is smooth as butter. I've got one of those guns myself. Well, a lot of pump action shotguns, whether they come from Mossberg or Remington or Kel-Tec, when they're new, because you've got metal moving against metal, the action bars, the rails, they can feel a little bit sticky. Now, they don't stick, but they feel that way. They don't feel as smooth as a broken-in gun. And we put the Frog Lube on the action rails of the KSG, and Jared got out there and just got it smoking hot. And we could tell, really immediately, within, 10, 15, 20 shots, that the rails had smoothed up a tremendous amount.
Yeah, once we put that on there and ran it a little bit, it was basically like if you shot the shell, when you fired around, if you just kind of let your arm move with the recoil, it would basically it would cycle itself.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think for words right now. I've got so much to say to you guys, but so little time. It's all trying to come out of my mouth at the same time.
Take your time, Jared. Take your time. So anyway, long story short, if you've got a KSG or any other kind of pump action shotgun and you're looking to get the rails broken in, we are recommending Frog Lube. But let's go ahead and jump into this week's episode. Let's jump into our student of the week, and we'll start talking about that and move on from there.
All right, our student of the week this week is Nick Bracalo, and excuse me if I said that wrong. He wants to know if steel ammo can damage your firearm like some say it can.
That's a very valid question, especially right now in the great ammo crisis of 2013. People that have never considered using a lacquered steel case ammunition can't find whatever their favorite caliber is, and so they're eyeballing the imported Soviet bloc ammo, the former Soviet bloc, whether it comes from Russia itself or whether it comes from Romania or Czechoslovakia or wherever. And folks, all the gun shop gurus will tell you, don't ever run steel-cased ammo in your guns. It'll ruin them and so forth. And yeah, there really is when we're talking about modern firearms, we're talking about modern guns made with high quality materials. We're not talking about guns that were made in 1903. If you have an antique, a 1903 pistol or an 1875 pistol, no, I probably wouldn't run steel-cased ammunition through it. But modern firearms I can tell you, we've shot how many thousands upon thousands of rounds of steel-cased 9mm, steel-cased 7.62 through our guns. Now, here's what you do need to know. What you need to know is if you're going to shoot steel-cased lacquered ammunition through a standard 5.56 chambered rifle, your AR type gun, your M4, your black rifle. Here's what will happen, and we've seen it happen, and it's actually happened to us. Is the lacquer, they put a lacquer on the steel. It's not raw steel, and when the chamber gets exceedingly hot, let's say you fire 2, 3, 4 magazines, or even only a couple of magazines rapid fire through your gun, what will happen is that chamber will get exceedingly hot. You'll chamber around, safe the gun, and stop. And what will happen is that sticky lacquer will superheat up in the chamber, and then it will cool. You'll fire the round, it'll go bang, but the case will stick. And that case is not coming out of there until you take a rod, range rod or a cleaning rod, and knock it out. We've seen that happen this happens a lot, not so much when people are just slow firing from the bench. And some guys are like, that's crap. I've been shooting that ammo and I never had a problem with it. We'll say, well, what do you do? Well, I went to the range, I sat down at the bench, and I shot 15 rounds, and zero my scope, and I never had a problem with it. Like, well, no, it's not going to happen if you shoot 15 or 20 rounds. But if you go to a training class, let's say you book a spot, out at Gunsight or at Tactical Response or Texas Pistol Academy, something like that, and, like Tactical Response, their fighting rifle program, you can expect to fire, 300-400 rounds the first day, Jared, something like that, maybe 500, and then at least another 500 the next day. That's a lot of rounds. It's a lot of shooting. And it's probably more shooting than you'll ever do recreational at your home range. That is when you start noticing things like that. But as far as will, lacquered steel cased ammunition damage my firearm? If your firearm is a modern quality firearm, no, it's not going to damage it. It's not going to hurt it. Now, not every gun likes every type of ammunition. That's just the way machines are. I've had guns from certain companies that really liked ammunition from brand X, but really didn't like ammunition from brand Y. Sometimes you just have to figure out what your gun feeds the best, what it likes the best, and when it comes to rifles, what shoots the best and is most accurate out of it. But I guess this rule of thumb or rule of wrist, depending on how you look at it, is if you're going to have Soviet-era guns or Soviet-made guns, for instance, if you've got an AK, some type of an AK, whether it's an Arsenal or whether it's a Yugo or whatever, if you shoot Soviet ammo or Russian ammo through Russian guns, you'll not have a problem. No problem at all. And that's because that's what it's built for. So if you've got an AK-74, an AK-47, drive on. You shoot that stuff all day long, every day. We haven't had any problem running steel-cased ammunition through Glocks or SIGs or XDs. So if you can find it right now, dudes, ladies and gentlemen, if I could find steel-cased 9mm training ammo, I would buy every piece I could find, and I'm sure you would too. So don't sweat so much the steel-cased ammo unless you're trying to shoot a gun that's an antique. Now, the next topic on our plate here, this story comes from the National Shooting Sports Foundation. It's actually a graph, and Jared will put this up on the show notes. Now, remember, the actual show notes with all of the links can be found by going to studentofthegunradio.com. If you go to studentofthegunradio.com, that's where you'll find all the complete show notes. So keep that in mind if you want to read them, if you want to find the links and what have you. But the National Shooting Sports Foundation, they came up with an infographic basically that details homicides with firearms in the United States of America, other crimes with firearms, and gun ownership. And what you find, though, is that since the year 1993, gun crimes and firearms homicides are down. They're almost at an all-time low, and gun crimes in the United States are at a near all-time low historically. But on the other hand, on the other side of the coin, you'll find that firearms ownership in the United States of America is just the opposite. It's at an all-time high. We have more people in the United States of America that own firearms in some form or fashion today than ever have in the history of our nation. So you've got more guns in the hands of citizens. You have violent crimes committed with guns at down 69%, according to this graph. But when they did, and this is the big but, and we like big buts, and we'll tell you why. They also did a survey, and apparently American citizens, 56% of the citizenry believes that gun crime has risen. Now let's ponder that for a second. Let's ponder that as thinking adults and thinking children. If you're listening, if you got your kids in the car, let them think about it too, because kids sometimes can be smarter than we give them credit for. So when it comes to facts, when it comes to actual crimes committed, when it comes to murders, homicides, and so forth committed with guns, statistically, and we get these statistics from the FBI. So if anybody wants to jump on you about, who's gathering the statistics? Well, the FBI is. Can we live with the FBI stats? Okay, we can. Let's move on. So if the gun crimes are down, but people Joe Average, the guy you see at the grocery store or at your kid's soccer game, they think that gun crimes are up. Why would that be? Ask yourself that question. Why does the average uninformed American citizen think that there's more gun crime going on when there's actually, like according to this infographic, it's down 69%? Could it be because that is the narrative that they're being fed by the big media, by the politicians in Washington? And if that is the case, if you're willing to accept that, gun crime is out of control and we have to do something, and the something we need to do is to disarm you. If you accept that narrative, then or the fact that narrative is being put out, you got to ask yourself, why? Why would a group or an organization deliberately mislead the American people? Is there an attempt to deliberately mislead the American people into thinking things are worse as far as, guns are concerned, that they're worse than they actually are? And that leads to the next question: who benefits? Be honest with yourself. You're a student of the gun. Think about it. If you have a big media who's pushing the template that guns are bad and there's a crisis in America, and that crisis is gun crime, and we have to absolutely do something about it, even if it means ignoring the Constitution of the United States, ignoring the constitutions of the 50 states, even if it means trampling on the rights of the citizen, we've just got to do something for the children, just to keep you safe. Who benefits from that? Do you, as the individual citizen, do you benefit from it? And I'm not going to answer that question for you. What I want you to do is I want you to be a thinking person, and I want you to ask yourself that, or talk to your friends or your spouse or what have you, and say, all right, who benefits from scaring the citizen? Is it the citizen that benefits? I don't know. Ask yourself that question. The next, moving on. Now, this next question, it actually came from the mailbox, and people wanted to know about eye dominance. Somebody wanted to talk about eye dominance issues. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, first of all, human beings, normal, human beings, unless you have some type of an injury or something of that nature, a disability where one of your eyes doesn't perform correctly, everyone has two eyes, and one of your eyes is dominant. Just like you're right-handed or left-handed, you're either dominant right eye or dominant left eye. And that is the lead eye, and the other eye takes the lead from it. Now, when it comes to shooting or using a firearm, most people just assume that if they're right-handed, that they're right eye dominant, or left-handed left eye dominant. And that can be the case. However, it's not always the case. And where people will run into, issues or training issues is if you have a person who is, for instance, left-handed, but they are right eye dominant. And the trick with eye dominance, I think we covered this in an earlier episode, but we can go ahead and go down this road again since we had a question about it. The trick with eye dominance is it's much harder to change your eye dominance than it is to change your dominant hand. Well, what do I mean? If I set a pen on the table and I looked at you and I said, use your left hand and pick up the pen, could you do that? Well, obviously you could. If I said, pick the pen up with your right hand, you could do that. Now, if I looked at you and said, be left eye dominant, could you do that? Could you will your body to be left eye dominant? No. It's an unconscious thing. Now, could you close your right eye and only keep your left eye open? Obviously, you can do that. Some people have that talent. Some people can close their left eye and keep their right eye open. But when it comes to shooting, the most effective way to use whether it's a shotgun, a rifle, or a pistol, is actually not to squint or blink your eyes. It's to keep both of your eyes open. There are several reasons for that. If you ever have to use a firearm in very deliberate action, like either in competition or to fight for your own life, the chances of you taking the time to close your eye, and I'm not talking about a slow fire, like a bullseye competition. Yes, I understand if you're in a slow fire bullseye competition where you have all the time in the world, you can take a deep breath, close your left eye, and press the trigger. I got that. But that's not how most firearms are used. Most firearms are either used in some type of a dynamic fashion, whether you're hunting, whether you're in a competition, or whether you plan to use it to save your own life. And when someone is in the process of trying to make you dead, if you think, well, hang on, I'm going to close my left eye, and no, you're not going to close your left eye. You're going to stare at that threat with both eyes open. And you might as well practice shooting with both eyes open. Now, if you're talking about using a handgun, if you're a right-handed person but you're left-hand dominant, it's really not that big of a deal. All you do is you're going to cant the gun slightly so that the front sight is in front of your left eye. Focus on the front sight with your dominant eye, press the trigger, and drive on. Where we run into trouble or problems or issues, I guess I should say, is when you use a rifle. You know, if you're a left-eye dominant person but you're right-handed, you don't want to be trying to crank your left eye over the top of that stock. And that's when people say, well, man, you know, I have a hard time with it. Try shooting with your dominant eye side, regardless of your hand dominance. My daughter is a perfect example. As a woman, a lot of women, more women are left-handed than men, I believe, statistically. And she is naturally left-handed. She eats with her left hand. She writes with her left hand. She does normal tasks left-handed. However, she is right-eye dominant. So because she's right-eye dominant, she performs all of her shooting sports activities from her right side, and she has since she was real little. She's competed in state youth trap shooting and our shotgun programs. And she's shot with a rifle, she shot with a pistol, she shot with a bow and arrow, she's done archery, all with her right side because she's right-eye dominant. And when you work with young people, when you work with kids that don't have a whole, you know, they don't have decades worth of bad habits already ingrained into their body, what you generally find is if you can determine the child's eye dominance and then teach them to work from that side of your body, they will achieve great success, particularly when you're using some type of an action sport or you're participating in an action sport like skeet or clay or, you know, five stand, something like that, where they have to actually track the target, use their dominant eye vision to find it and shoot it. So if you're out there, if you're a new shooter, if you're a new gun owner, and you discovered that you are somehow cross-dominant. You're right-handed, left eye, left-handed, right eye, or what have you, and you're having problems with that. What you might want to try and do is switch over. And you say, oh, it feels uncomfortable. Yeah, I understand that it'll feel uncomfortable at first, but try it once, twice, 3 times, and you may find that you have greater success using your dominant eye. So that's the 1, 2, 3s on eye dominance, and we hope that it's helped out some of you folks out there. Now, Jared, you want to talk about some Hollywood celebrities, some celebrities next?
Yeah, let's talk about some celebrities. I like talking about them sometimes. When it's good things.
When it's good things.
Which is actually kind of rare.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, we find that people in the Hollywood limelight have a tendency to be, all right, I know there's kids in the car listening, so I'll clean it up, not nice people. Rather arrogant and self-involved, let's put it that way. And this story comes to us from Fox News, and it's about our buddy Kid Rock. Now, Kid Rock, when I say he's our buddy, he's not really, I don't know if he's aware of Student of the Gun or not. He should be. He should be aware of Student of the Gun because Kid Rock, believe it or not, is a gun guy. And what happened, according to the story, is some kind of a whack job stalker type person decided that they were going to break into his home. They're going to break into his property, invade his privacy. And it wasn't that big of a deal. They found the guy. I mean, it's always a big deal when someone breaks into your home, but Kid Rock wasn't there at the time. And he made this statement. His statement was, I take the invasion of my personal space very seriously, regardless of who you are. And yes, I do profile people. And then he went on to say, thank God I was not home on the property at the time of this attempted break-in. I'm an avid hunter and a marksman. And he said, I would not hesitate to defend myself against someone who was trying to harm my family. And there's several stories out there. If you just Google Kid Rock home invasion, you can come up with we've got the Fox story here, but a lot of the rock and roll radio shows were talking about it because, he's a rock and roller or what have you. But I thought that was really interesting that somebody that's in the music, in the limelight, in Hollywood would not only come out and say, hey, this is a bunch of crap, don't invade my home, but at the same time come out and say, it's a good thing I wasn't there, because if you break into my house when my family is there, I'm going to shoot you. How many people in Hollywood do you think have the guts and the cojones to come out and make a public statement like that? I would say very few and far between. Most of them are such hippies that they would apologize to the person that broke into their house, Oh, I'm just glad that this all ended well and no one was harmed and blah, 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 blah. So hats off to our buddy there, Kid Rock, for actually for standing up for himself and for not, succumbing to the normal or the typical Hollywood, oh, you're okay, I'm okay, we just have different opinions garbage. So good for him. Good for him. And, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't take someone breaking into my home very lightly. Now, this next story we're going to talk about, it's what happens when the good guys are armed. For all the folks out there that will tell you that it's the police's job, that don't take the law into your own hands, just be a good little victim, give the bad guys what they want, and they'll leave you alone. All that happy horse crap right there. Well, in Columbus, Texas, what happened was this is kind of an involved story, and we get it from WKHOU.com. But essentially, the story goes like this. A bank teller, an employee at the First National Bank of Eagle Lake in Columbus, was kidnapped by two bank robbers. And they ended up not only trying to kidnap her and get her to take money out of the bank, to steal money from the bank for them, get them to let them in and so forth, what you expect bank robbers to do, but they also involved her husband in that. Well, her husband wasn't having any of it, and what he did is he retrieved a firearm and he shot him. And so, here at Student of the Gun, we're like, go team. The husband shot the two bank robbery suspects, and let me check the story right here. I believe one of them expired. Let me see. Yeah, one of them expired, and one of them was airlifted in critical condition. Now, I don't know what his condition is currently, but the name of the game is Go Team, Go Texas, and if you've got some freaking scuzzbag felons that think it's cool to kidnap a bank teller and try and force her to take money from them, what do you think is some good medicine for those guys? Well, I'm trying to find the man's name right here in the story. All right, I'm not seeing his name right at the moment. But we got to give an attaboy or a yay team to our friends in Texas who are taking care of business. And unfortunately, there's a lot of business that needs to be taken care of in Texas right now. But, for all of your friends and neighbors and hippie people that will tell you that you don't need guns and it's the police's job and so forth, or just give the bad guy, this infuriates me, and it drives me up a wall when there are still people in this nation, adults, that will say things like, don't fight back. Just give them what they want. Your life isn't worth it. Okay, that's nice for you, California, New York, Boston hippie. You're not the one at the end of a gun. You're not the one that's being drug around in your car, kidnapped. What happens if you get a bad guy who just decides that, oh, you gave them your purse and your wallet and so forth, but that's not all that they want? What if they want to rape you? What if they want to murder you? You just going to go ahead and let them murder you so that they can go on about their merry way and not be harmed? Or are you going to fight back? We talked about this before, but victims of crimes, or people who are chosen to be victims that fight back, not only do they fare well from a physical standpoint, they fare much better from a psychological standpoint after it's over with, because there's something about fighting back that's empowering. And right now in the United States of America, sadly and unfortunately, we've gotten to the point where it seems like the majority of the population doesn't understand what it means to fight back, which really troubles me, because this nation was built by people that knew how to fight back. They knew how to fight back. And the fact that we've been cowed, we have people in our country, that adult men that don't understand what it means to fight back or to fight to protect their families. I've talked to we hold classes not as often as we'd like, but pretty often. And we're out there in the public, and we get messages, and we talk to people at public events. And I've had women that come up and they're like, well, I want to buy a gun, and I want to get some training first, and so that's why I signed up for this class. We've had that a lot, and we're like, that's very admirable, and we appreciate it. And it's good that you want to get education and information before you purchase a firearm. Go team. And so a lot of times we'll say, well, what's your living situation like that? Are you a single mom? Do you have a husband? What's going on there? Are there multiple people in the home, multiple adults that will potentially be using this gun? And we've actually had some women say to us, well, yeah, I'm here because I want to learn how to use this, but my husband doesn't, or my husband's not really interested in it. And we were doing what we found here doing our personal defense classes, our armed living classes, that it used to be 10, 15 years ago, if you held a class and you had maybe a dozen, 15 students, if you had one woman that showed up in the class, that was an anomaly. That was strange. 15 years ago, if you held a shooting class and had one or two women show up, that was really rare. Women just didn't go to shooting classes or shooting schools. And what we found when we do our armed living classes, that anywhere from 25 to 30, sometimes 40% of the class now will be adult women, whether they're married or whether they're single, whether they're divorced, whether they're widowed or what have you. We have a lot of women showing up to our classes. And, when we do our introductions, we, ask people like, what are you hoping to get from the class? What do you, hope to learn today? What's your experience level like? And we try and get to know our students, because we want to know, what is the impetus for you being here? Did you just see the flyer and thought, hey, that'd be a fun way to spend a Saturday? Or did you come because something's happened to you? Have you been the victim of a crime, or potentially the victim of a crime, and what have you? But one of the things that I'm glad that they're there, and I really am, because the more education you have, the better able to deal with situations you are in life, or problems. But when a woman tells me, I'm here because I want to find out how to use a gun, but my husband is not into it or he doesn't care, it bothers me. And it goes back to how did we forget as a nation how to fight for ourselves, how to fight for our families, how to fight for our rights? How do we get to the point as a nation where we have adults, men and women, who don't understand the concept of fighting back? To me, that's crazy. I mean, my family history goes all the way back to 1776, when my great-great-great-grandfather was here fighting against the British for independence. So I don't understand why or how it is. Well, I mean, I understand how, because what we've been, for the last 20, 30 years, people are being continuously dumbed down, being told it's not your problem. Don't worry about it. Let someone else take care of it. You shouldn't have to do it. And that's baloney sausage. Right now, folks, in the United States of America, if you're listening to the sound of my voice and you don't have a plan to be independent, you don't have a plan to take care of your own family, whether it's through food or medical training or having enough water on hand, what have you. And I'm not talking about just guns. I'm talking about not being reliant upon others. How did you get to that point? Be honest with yourself. Look around your home. Consider your family. Could you survive for 48 hours without the assistance of your benevolent government? If the answer is no, what are you doing? What are you doing? How did you let yourself get to that point? Because the United States of America was not founded so that we could have a great benevolent big brother nanny state taking care of all the people. That's not how we got to where we are right now. We got to this point in history by being fighters, by fighting and standing up. And the last generation or two, we seem to have lost that. And it's time to rediscover that. It's time to rediscover the fighter in you, to push back. I'm telling you, start pushing back, start questioning things. Don't just take it for granted or for what it's worth. Well, what can I do? I'm just one person. This nation is made up of millions of one persons. Millions of one persons. And if you want to commune and work with or hang out with people that are like-minded, and this is a little bit of an aside right here, but in your community where you live, if you live out there and you feel like you're the only one, I feel like I'm the only one in my group of peers that thinks it's a good idea to have a gun at home, that thinks you should have extra food at home, that thinks that you should, take care of your priorities first before you take care of your entertainment. I feel like I'm a crazy person that I'm out, howling, or the lone guy screaming at the mountains. If you feel like that, book yourself a seat in a shooting school, in a professional shooting school or a professional shooting class. And what's going to happen is you're going to go there and you're going to find dozens of other people that feel the exact same way that you do. Go to a shooting school and you'll talk to people that are doctors and lawyers and attorneys and accountants and, computer engineers and so forth. You'll find out that they felt the same way you did. They're like, man, I thought I was the only one who felt this way. No, it turns out that there's lots of you and you need to commune with those people. Get some peer reinforcement from them. So, that's going to bring us right about to the end of segment number 1. And Jared, you got anything to tell the audience before we let them go?
I was just about to ask if I could rock the mic for a second.
Go ahead and rock the mic, Jared.
I just wanted to remind you guys about our social media. You guys have been doing a very good job. I just sent out a email blast this morning. I believe it was at 8 o'clock, and my email has been blowing up all morning with notifications of people following new social media and all that stuff. And the reason I bring that up is, why would you want to follow our social media? What does that do for you? Well, aside from keeping up with all of our new information that we put out for free for you guys, we've got a deal going on right now. If you like all of our social media sites, you can earn one extra entry for each like or follow or subscribe or whatever you do, and you earn one extra bonus entry to the KSG giveaway for each page you like. And right now we've got Facebook, we've got Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. We've got 2 YouTube channels, actually. We got Student of the Gun TV, and then we've got SOTG Homeroom. And then we've got Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, and Vimeo. And then as an added bonus to that, for every item you purchase from www.studentofthegungear.com, you get an extra bonus entry as well.
Oh, we got a new product for them. Let them know what that is, Jared.
Oh, we've got the grad package. We've got here, you can save 20% and earn 3 extra bonus entries with the grad package. And that package includes the Arm Living Concealed Carry DVD, the Student of the Gun ebook, and an official shirt. So pick that up at studentofthegungear.com.
Now, what can they put on their trucks and their book bags and their computers and their laptops? What can they put on there to let everyone know that they are indeed a student of the gun?
Oh, the new product. I see what you're saying.
New product. Yeah, come on there, guy.
The new product. we've got a sticker, a Student of the Gun sticker coming out, and that'll be available this weekend, I believe. So keep up with it.
By the time you listen, you hear the sound of both of our voices here. By the time you hear our voices telling you this, we should have the brand new I Am a Student of the Gun stickers available and up on the gear store. So you want to make sure that you're checking that out. Now, for all things Student of the Gun, don't forget to go to studentofthegun.com. You can read the articles. You can listen to the show. You can watch the videos. All the good stuff that we've got, all the work that we're doing to keep you guys educated, informed, and entertained is right there at studentofthegun.com. Now stick with us because we will be back with part 2 of this episode in just a moment.